The hosts of The View have once again found themselves at the centre of controversy, this time for doing exactly what they claim to oppose, dismissing and undermining a woman's professional achievements. In a shocking moment that left many viewers stunned, co-host Joy Behar took a direct swipe at 27-year-old Karoline Leavitt, who serves as Donald Trump's press secretary. Instead of acknowledging Leavitt's experience, political expertise, or communication skills, Behar suggested that her success was purely due to her appearance. With an air of dismissiveness, Behar implied that Leavitt's appointment had little to do with competence and everything to do with her good looks, a statement that immediately sparked backlash. Critics were quick to call out the irony, pointing out that The View often presents itself as a champion of women's empowerment. Yet this remark reduced a young woman's career to nothing more than aesthetics. This controversy is just the latest in a series of incidents where The View hosts have been accused of contradicting their own principles. Many viewers and commentators argued that if a conservative figure had made a similar comment about a liberal woman in politics, the outrage would be deafening. The discussion around Leavitt's appointment should have been about her qualifications, her ability to handle press relations, and the challenges of working in such a high-profile role at a young age. Instead, the focus shifted to an outdated and reductive narrative, one that women in every industry have been fighting against for decades. In a media landscape that often claims to support women breaking barriers, moments like these reveal the underlying biases that still exist. Whether one supports Leavitt politically or not, dismissing her credentials based on her appearance is a disservice to the conversation about merit, capability, and gender equality in professional spaces. As the backlash continues, it raises a larger question. Is true empowerment about supporting all women in their careers, or only the ones who align with a particular political ideology?
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though, it's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
It was a comment that left many scratching their heads, bizarre to say the least, especially coming from Joy Behar, a woman who has built her entire persona on being an advocate for feminism and progressive values. And yet, here she was, making an accusation that sounded anything but feminist. One online commentator didn't hold back, calling her statement downright disgusting. The outrage stemmed from Behar's claim that Karoline Leavitt was only hired because Donald Trump thought she was a 10. But here's the thing, Karoline Leavitt actually comes with real job qualifications, something that can't exactly be said about some of the recent hires made under the Biden administration's DEI, Diversity, Equity and Inclusion initiatives. Another commentator went even further, doubling down on the idea that Karoline Leavitt's hiring was based on looks, saying, "You know exactly what this is about. The difference? She's actually competent, unlike the last press secretary, who was hired purely because of her identity as a black lesbian." The backlash didn't stop there. Whoopi Goldberg decided to jump in, echoing Behar's sentiment, insinuating that Lee's appointment was yet another example of wokeness gone too far. But here's the irony. If Karoline Leavitt were a Democrat and had been hired by the Biden administration, would these same critics have questioned her qualifications? Or would they have celebrated her as a strong, capable woman breaking barriers? This controversy highlights a growing double standard, where hiring based on merit is only questioned when it involves someone from the wrong political side. So, what do you think? Is this another example of media bias at play, or does Joy Behar have a point? Let me know in the comments.
Yeah, I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework, because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you, because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason We fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason, because black people couldn't get into colleges, because women could not get into the colleges they wanted to go to. This is all women. Yeah. See, this is not black, Asian women. This is all women. Women were not invited to this party. It was a man's world, and we busted our asses to make sure that this was a person's world.
It seems Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar couldn't resist weighing in on Karoline L's debut as White House press secretary. But what's grabbing attention isn't just their criticism, it's how Whoopi's remarks are coming across. One commentator summed it up perfectly. Whoopi is mansplaining the press secretary's job to Karoline L. It's hilarious. The irony. This criticism came just a day after Karoline L. delivered what many are calling a masterclass performance in her very first White House press conference. She handled tough questions, navigated political landmines, and set a confident tone for her role. Yet, instead of acknowledging her strong start, Whoopi and Joy had their own take, one that left many scratching their heads. Were they offering constructive feedback, or was this just another example of unnecessary media nitpicking? As debates heat up, one thing is clear. Karoline L's first appearance has made waves. Whether the criticism holds weight or not, her performance has already set a high bar. But what do you think? Was Whoopi's take fair, or was it just another case of celebrity commentary missing the mark?
Caroline, on immigration, of the 3,500 arrests ICE has made so far since President Trump came back into office, can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
Jackie, one of the worst first. They all have a criminal record?
And welcome to the briefing. If they broke our nation's laws, yes, they are criminal. Yes.
Thank you.
Commentator Charlie Kirk had nothing but praise, stating, "After the absolute masterclass she delivered yesterday, effortlessly outmaneuvering the legacy media, this kind of reaction is nothing more than bitter and ridiculous." Sky News host Paul Murray echoed the sentiment, adding, "L is a rock star, no doubt about it." This isn't just a performance, it's a shift in the game. While critics scramble for weak jabs, the reality is undeniable. She dominated the conversation, leaving the opposition grasping for relevance.
New rock star launched overnight. Now, I know she's been around for some time, but how's this? She's just 27, but she's fantastic. This is the brand new press secretary representing the president. Now, remember old Karoline Jean-Pierre? Just lying to people about how amazing Biden was, deep fakes. The one before that, Jen Psaki, circle around just telling lies. Well, they've been replaced with a lady called Karoline Leavitt. I repeat, you can see she's a lady of faith. She's a lady who knows how to fire guns recreationally, and she knows how to drop a few bombs verbally on a press pack that, remember, covered up for Biden and have told the worst possible lies about incoming future Hitler Trump. Have a look at her taking control of a room of people who normally wouldn't even roll their eyes at a person like her, but now they've got to listen.
While I vowed to provide the truth from this podium, we ask that all of you in this room hold yourselves to that same standard. We know for a fact there have been lies that have been pushed by many legacy media outlets in this country about this president, about his family, and we will not accept that. We will call you out when we feel that your reporting is wrong or there is misinformation about this White House.
Boom. She's got more.
I would like to point out to each and every one of you that in 2024, when Joe Biden was in the Oval Office, or upstairs in the residence sleeping, I'm not so sure, egg prices increased 65% in this country.
Bam!